On behalf of the Government of Manitoba, I'd like to begin by saying the child welfare system failed Phoenix Sinclair. We deeply regret and are profoundly saddened by the loss of this child. The Hughes Inquiry is the latest, an extensive examination of the child welfare system following the murder of Phoenix Sinclair. In 2006, our government launched several internal and external reviews that resulted in more than 295 recommendations to improve the system. We followed up on those recommendations through a multi-year action plan we called Changes for Children. Today, we have more social workers, more training, and better tools for early intervention, as well as greater supports for birth families and foster families. We know how a little girl became invisible, and we have already implemented changes to prevent other children from disappearing as she did. Commissioner Hughes' reports shows us that the changes that we have made have put us on the right path towards protecting vulnerable children. There is more to do, and the report offers a roadmap for further improvements. Today, I'm announcing the creation of an implementation team headed by Barbara Bruce to review the recommendations and to report back by September 30th. I am further announcing today that we are drafting legislation to establish critical incident reporting, similar to what is in place in the healthcare system. We are doing this because we want to move away from a culture of secrecy and individual blame and toward a culture of safety and learning, focusing on protecting our children. The intent of this report, when Commissioner Hughes was tasked and he put his team together, it was very explicit. Their responsibility was what went wrong in the system. And as Commissioner Hughes has said, it was not to point blame or to assign blame. Well, what we've said today is that we accept all of the recommendations from Commissioner Hughes and his team. There are some recommendations that we can tell you that are already underway and that we plan to implement immediately, and that it equals about half of the recommendations, so 31 of those recommendations. Then there are 31 recommendations that are specific to legislation, to accountability, to the professional act, that those recommendations have to be analyzed, and a plan needs to be put in place about how we proceed with them. In child welfare worker a few decades ago, though, and I did those intake calls. I knocked on those doors. I met with those families. I made those assessments. I went home to the comfort of my bungalow every night with my family, and I would wake up in the morning and I would sit on the edge of my bed, listen to the news, and I would pray that there was not a name of a family that I worked with that would be on that news. And that's a reality for social workers across this province, across this nation, and internationally. They have a huge responsibility, and they take it very seriously. We need to give them the tools in order to do that work. We need to make sure that we are providing families in crisis with the services and supports that they need so they can parent their children to the best of their ability.